Hello, everyone. I'm Regina, CEO from Dream to Be. We have been bridging the Brazilian and Canadian tech ecosystem for the last 5 years. And today I'm here with Shafin from Victory Square, Sherry from Spark Center, and Carolina from the Chamber of Commerce, Brazil, Canada. And we're going to be talking about the Canadian ecosystem. How about, first of all, thank you very much for being here with us. How about we start with a quick introduction, and you guys can say what you're currently working on. Maybe Shafin go first, as you are in disadvantage today here.
Thanks for having me, and it's good to meet everyone today. So my name is Shafin Diamond. I'm the CEO of Victory Square Labs. We're a venture build studio, physically based here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. We've been in the tech space for over 20 years, and in that time, we built and invested in over 50 companies in over 21 countries. I think with over $1 billion in value now. Our focus is companies that right now are working with AI, machine learning, virtual and augmented reality, gaming, kind of fintech, and plant-based sciences. So that's me.
Thank you, Shafin. That's great. Who is next? Sherry, maybe? Carolina?
Sure. So I'm Sherry Colburn, CEO of Spark Center, and Spark Center is one of 17 regional innovation centers across Ontario. We predominantly focus on tech and innovation entrepreneurs. So we are completely tech agnostic, so we don't restrict inclusion in our community because of any specific, tech focus. And recently, Spark became one of the founding members of a new pan-Canadian initiative, which is called the Innovation Economy Council. So we're really looking forward to some big things happening there. It's basically a coalition of tech leaders that are really, trying to drive the conversation across Canada around tech and innovation. And that's me.
That's also. Thank you, Sherry.
So my name is Carolina Alvarez. I'm Director of Business Development Operations at the Brazil-Canada Chamber of Commerce. We are based in Toronto, and we've been around for about 47 years. Our mandate is to strengthen the bilateral commercial relations between Brazil and Canada, and we've been working with Brazilian startups, specifically lately with to help them understand and find opportunities in the Canadian ecosystem. And also part of our mandate is to bridge both ecosystems and try to find and foster new opportunities, new relationships, and investments between both countries in that sector. We also work in many different sectors such as mining, infrastructure, education, healthcare. But since we're talking about startups, this has been our focus for a while, and we've been successful in leverage our knowledge of the Brazilian and the Canadian economy sectors and ecosystems to help those companies to succeed. So a little bit about us.
Yeah, you guys have been doing a great job. Thank you very much. Looks like Shafin got dropped, but he'll probably try to get in again.
I think I'm back.
You're back. Perfect.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
sorry.
The ladies just finished to introduce themselves, so yeah, perfect timing. How about now, maybe if you guys can talk about which solutions are generating positive impacts in Canada, because of course we all know that the health sector is in evidence now, and because of the COVID situation, and everybody's looking into that. But also there's other solutions as well that's are definitely sort of now having more advantage. I wouldn't say advantage, but like they are definitely now can be very useful. Like, what do you see as kind of solutions that are making positive impacts in Canada?
Well, I'll jump in, Regina. I mean, in our region, so Spark focuses predominantly, the eastern gateway of Toronto all the way out to eastern Ontario, Kingston kind of Ontario border. We're seeing a lot of AI, of course, is huge as a an enabling technology. But sector-wise, you know, advanced manufacturing is really, you know, coming back into its own. Certainly, clean tech is very, very much on the rise, I guess I would say. And you know, we at Spark in particular, because we are actually also one of 6 autonomous vehicle innovation centers across Ontario. So we have a big focus in our region on smart mobility products. So those would be the 3, I think, that would kind of rise to the top for me.
Perfect.
Yeah. So just some, you know, it's kind of interesting. We been through 2 different kind of crises over the last 20 some odd years. The internet kind of bust, and then the financial crisis in 08, and we always kind of see that necessity is kind of the mother of all innovation. So it's been interesting because not only here, we've got a pretty wide scope here in Canada. We're seeing existing companies, what's been interesting, iterate and pivot their businesses to digital, and then we've also seen a massive interest from companies abroad wanting to come to Canada through programs like Maple or Startup Visa, which I know Spark offers as well. And so it's been interesting for us because I think because Canada wasn't hit as bad as some of the other areas in the world, a lot of the companies here have been continuing to be able to operate. And there's been tremendous government support. So we've kind of seen innovation happening on all different sectors, whether it's like, digital health, which, there are a couple of companies here out of BC that have been kind of leading the way, to some of the programs coming out of the universities or the incubators and accelerators, where entrepreneurs are pivoting or iterating their businesses or collaborating. So we've also seen some interesting things where companies that normally wouldn't have been partnering together or working together are working together towards specific solutions to kind of what we're dealing with right now. So it's been really interesting for us because not only have we seen innovation here in the country within a variety of different sectors, but we've also seen an influx of companies wanting to come to Canada and build, because they've seen that our ecosystem is kind of been not just surviving but thriving during this type of crisis. So
that's great.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you. It's we've been seeing as well, cybersecurity is another one that has been growing like crazy because of the digital transformation. So people are trying to make sure that all the vehicles are secure enough. And we have clean technology, commerce, another one, AI, but health tech as well. We see like telemedicine advance like years in like weeks, right? Because of the pandemic. And collaborations, we can see, we saw kind of like digital device companies partnering with automakers to develop PPEs. We saw a lot of really good initiatives that happened in the past few months that we really hope that stay in order to help Canada to get out of this. And advanced industries like Sherry mentioned as well, like it's kind of the catalyst for Canada. The startups are doing great jobs in helping big manufacturers to innovate. And I think that this is a trend that's just gonna keep growing and keep helping Canadian manufacturing systems to stay in the game in the next future. So.
Yeah, that's great. That's pretty much sort of answer my next question. That would be about also the coming back of the economy. Canada, as all of you mentioned, that has some advantage in a way that was already doing really well as one of the top innovation sectors around the world. And I think what we have been doing like for the last few years is definitely paying off now. And as Shafin also mentioned, Canada is not going to be hit that hard as other countries. We actually are even more attractive than ever before, because we have been sort of like doing all this homework, right? With like not just with the ecosystem, with government and all that places. So, but I guess like if you all can say about what do you think about the coming back in the economy, maybe global wise, and of course tackle Canada into that would be great.
Sure. Okay, well, $1 million question, right? Like, when is the Canadian economy really come back, and what are the impacts that's gonna have. So I think that there's a lot of experts that are saying that the worst is over. I think Canada hit like rock bottom in April, and now it's kind of coming back. There is a lot of external factors that can impact this recovery, such as US elections. We depend so much with the US in terms of trade. Nobody really knows what's going to happen in the next few months, if Trump stays in power, if how they control the pandemic and how their economy evolved. So I think this is one of the things that everybody has to keep in mind, as well as like the worry of having a second wave coming back in the fall, that I think there's a lot of people working on this. I think that in kind of like in terms of internal factors that could impact the full recovery of the economy, is mostly like the end of government support. So like the Canadian government actually pledged billions of dollars to support companies and individuals to stay home. We're talking about over $300 billion in incentives between like programs and tax incentives. So they extended most of it until end of the year, but then how are companies like move on after this inflow of money stops is also a big question mark. But in the end, I think that the auto sector wasn't hit as hard as people expected. Housing market wasn't hit as hard as people expected. So I think that Canadians are pretty optimistic. We saw some reports saying that they're expecting the economy to be recovering like as soon as September. But again, right, everything, and nobody really knows what kind of shape that recovery curve is going to have and how long it's going to take. But at this point, we're all optimistic, but it's still kind of a big question mark.
Thank you, Caroline. Would you like to add something, Shafin and Sherry?
Yeah, I think, our perspective has more been around the fact that, the world's been through viruses and pandemics, and, I would never bet against mankind. We've always kind of, overcome, and a lot of times it's during those periods where we've seen a lot of innovation that has allowed us to kind of live the lives we have today, because that innovation, allows, breakthroughs in medical and science and et cetera. But I think, the other thing we look at is whether we're quarantined or not quarantined, people still need to kind of eat, work, play, and connect. And it's just how they're doing that. So being in the technology space, we're lucky because we've been able to, a lot of the companies we look at, or the companies, here in Canada, are able to kind of have iterated, fairly quickly to be able to, provide a service, whether we're in quarantine or to prepare and invest in R&D. So when things transition back out, they've kind of got an advantage. We always look at this, I think, because we're in Canada, I feel like we have to be on the offense. Compared to the rest of the world, we're going to get better. We're going to get through this. We're going to keep moving as mankind. But because of the fact that we have, the infrastructure, the government, a lot of these really, really good things that are giving us an advantage to be, a front runner and a leader, not only today, but like kind of tomorrow. So I feel like, from a perspective of Canada, we're looking at it as if whether, it's not a matter of if, it's when, and that when, if it's in 6 months from now, well, the businesses need to just kind of iterate their delivery systems, or, their cost controls to kind of, be, survive today and be able to kind of thrive tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, and I think the challenge for the reopening or the ramp back up to our previous pre-COVID economy, I think is going to fall on the backs of the small businesses and the startups, and what my concern is only, can they survive? Can they make it through? Because I think that the length of time that it takes is still quite unknown. I know I've spoken with friends of mine and colleagues of mine within the Canadian Ontario healthcare system, and they are very much preparing for a second wave. So that's the only concern I have. I mean, I know in speaking with many of our startups and startups across Ontario, Some of them are, they're struggling, they really are struggling. The government has done an incredible job at trying to, keep the lights on, so to speak. But I do have a bit of a concern if this continues for too long, that we just might lose some of these incredible startups, unfortunately, to bankruptcy or closing their doors. So I'm super optimistic, but I do have I guess I would call it a measure of concern, and I do pay a lot of attention to everything that's kind of going on. When I look at the other countries, that's a bit more interesting, because I feel like Canada's in an incredibly strong position to sort of move through the pandemic and will take advantage. Like, those companies that survive will really be bringing great innovations to the world. I have no doubt in my mind. But when I look around at what's going on in the world, I wonder how this is all going to play out, because some countries are in really, they're just in really bad shape, and it seems that if you take the U.S. for example, it's become a politicized pandemic. I don't even know if that's the right way to say that, but it seems incredible to me that people would politicize something that is a dire health issue, But I guess this is a case of time will tell, and we have to just try to remain optimistic and continue to support one another, our startups, and hopefully everything is that much stronger for having gone through it.
Yeah, I think the main message that we get from Canada is definitely that Canada is open for business, right? Like, independence of
100%.
what's really going on in some of the countries, because of everything that has been done, we are definitely in a very good position. How about I think we have 5 more minutes. How about if you all can give an advice for the Brazilian entrepreneurs, as we are talking with a Brazilian audience. Of course, we would love to welcome everyone to Canada, but if you could give an advice, like how they can prepare to do this transition, to maybe look for investments or to expand their business to Canada. If you all can please share into your own expertise, one tip for our entrepreneurs, that would be appreciated.
Sure, I'll jump in. And mine's going to be really short. It's going to say, come to Canada. I have currently at Spark Center, I have 5 Brazilian companies. Most, I think, Regina, that I've met through you in some way, shape, or form. And they are spectacular. We love them. They add so much to our community. And when I look at Brazil and all the incredible stuff that's going on in the tech sector, I get really excited. I was saying to Carolina when we started, I miss going to Brazil and meeting all these great startups.
Actually, 2 years ago, we were here, like, as one of the speakers in Rio de Janeiro. I remember we were together. That was
Yeah. So I really, I miss Brazil. I can hardly wait for everything to settle down, and so I can get back to see my new friends that I made a couple of years back, and to speak with the startups. Great talent, super work ethic, and just generally fun people. So I'm just come to Canada. I'll get you here.
Can't wait to see you again in person. Sure.
Likewise, Regina.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sherry. I think Brazil is booming. There's so many new, amazing startups coming out from Brazil. There's a lot of innovation happening. Not only people think about São Paulo, but not only São Paulo, in many other areas of Brazil, like Belo Horizonte is coming up as one of the big innovation systems. Florianópolis, Curitiba, Rio. You have so many great hubs, and I think that there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration between Brazilian and Canadian companies, and there's a lot of opportunities for Brazilian companies to use Canada as a launch pad to go global. I think the Canadian government offers so many amazing programs and so many amazing incentives for companies to take advantage of this whole ecosystem that we created here. And I think the Brazilians have realized that this is a great place to come and establish yourself and use Canada as a gateway to reach other markets. And I think that the companies that Sherry is hosting at Spark Center. We have also a couple of them that are members, and they're doing amazing jobs. And we have a funny story of a company that came to Canada, pivot, and now are probably exporting their products back to Brazil. So it's like there's so many amazing opportunities that we can wait to like welcome all of you here in Canada and to explain a little bit better what the opportunities are and how we can help.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I would add to that. I think one piece of advice I would give to the startups there is to use this period to kind of evaluate what types of pain points they're seeing that are impacting the world, because there are going to be some really, really big opportunities that come out of these challenges, and whatever that new normal ends up being. Tech is borderless, so it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Canada, Brazil, India, Africa. If you have your health, access to the internet, and your mind, you can innovate and market a service or product to the world. So kind of use this as an opportunity to grow. The second thing I would say, which is kind of Canada based, and Regina, we've launched a $10 million fund for LATAM. So it's to invest in companies in Latin America, including Brazil, to bring them to Canada. Regina is going to be our conduit to that. So, we'll share some more information there, but yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of funding. And I know a lot of investors are looking towards markets like Brazil and Latin America to make investments. So.
Yeah, that's also something like I'm very excited. Of course, I have worked with the three of you, so like I'm even more excited because I know how positive impacts the three of you have been really adding to the Canadian ecosystem. And like as Carolina said, seeing what's happening here in Brazil now is definitely the perfect combination. I'm so happy that we actually are at this point right now, because like when I started 5 years ago, I remember that I used to talk about Canada as an opportunity, and how the ecosystem here in Brazil like just knew Canada as an opportunity for studying and not for really doing business. Everybody just thought about US, but now it's so obvious, as once we talk about Canada, everybody wants to go, everybody wants to know more, everybody can see the benefits of really, going to Canada and launch their business from there. So it's very exciting time, and I'm so happy, that we're all working together, and we're all looking forward to welcome amazing Brazilian companies very soon. Thank you all for being here today, and Hacking RIO Talks for giving us this space. I think the world is in a very unique moment, and we're gonna get out of this stronger. So thank you all again for being part of this.
Thank you, Regina.
Thank you, Regina.
Bye, Sherry. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you all. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye.